cool, we're live now. Alright, what's up everybody? Me and CD trades, we're gonna go through some small account watch lists, make a small account watch list for tomorrow. So, enjoy y'all coming and let's get it. Alright, so the first thing, we're going to go to whales. I had this list I posted on Twitter, I don't know, 3 or 4 days ago, of some stocks that are under that 0.75 area. So we're kind of using this to narrow it down a little bit and then look from 5 for there. So head over to whales, and then let's see. All right, cool. So the first one, me and CD talked about this a little bit, stuck out, was LVS. Just from like looking over it broadly, it's usually one that's not on here. So go look at this real quick. Oh, my thing's spazzing a little. All right, today's breakdown. LVS isn't one that really moves all that quick, right? But on the hot chains and tickers, today's breakdown, we see the 46 call getting hit for 121, up to a 48 call. But on the downside, we also have that 40 put. So that's something that I really kind of notice, and one I'm definitely going to keep in mind. CD, is there any you have in mind, just right off the bat?
No, I think those two that you mentioned are probably the biggest outliers in my eyes, that are also still within a realistic range.
Yeah.
So those got my eyes as well.
Yeah. Another one that I'm going to look at Snap here. It's right underneath. Let's see today's breakdown. CD actually pointed this out that Snap's at a really big spot on the weekly chart. Needs to bounce here, or it can fall pretty deep. Look at the flow here. So let's see what's been taken. Maybe it's been taken for. All right, cool. So 128.45 calls leading our calls. 39 calls getting hit a little, but it looks pretty bearish. For the most part, that 218.45 call also sticks out. But for the most part, in the short term, it's looking, pretty bearish. 121.37 put is getting hit well. 114 was obviously pretty bearish, getting hit 38.37 puts. And then there is a 121.40 and 45 call that, might be a little bit too far out of the money in my humble opinion. But I'm going to keep Snap in mind. So right now we got Snap, Neo, LVS. Are 3 that have really stuck out. I'm going to go back to the hot chains. Let's see, hide this. So another one on that list. Let's see, Uber's on the list. Check out the flow to see what it's looking like. Today's breakdown. Let's see here. All right, so, oh shit. Looks like the 218s are getting hit. They're decently out of the money. Nothing crazy. 218s are getting hit. 121, we do have the 45 call getting hit. I don't really think it has as much upside as some of these others. I'm going to discount that one for now. Let's see. I know we talked about earlier PFE and semiconductors have been hot. So INTC is one that I personally like to play. For the semis, in terms of the smaller account, premiums are a lot cheaper. Let's look here, see what it's looking like. Today's breakdown. All right, let's see. Maybe it's taking forever. ISO 114.
Yeah, so it looks like for 121 at least, some 57.5s got hit pretty decent. That would have my eye, and then there's some in the money ones, but I'm not too interested in that. So
yeah,
mainly the 57.5s in my opinion.
Yeah, on the call side, and then the put side, that 55 put was hit pretty decent. Looks as well. A lot of open interest on it. Jesus, 37,000 open interest. So kind of curious how to see that opens tomorrow. If it's about 37,000 on the OI, people are probably holding that. So that's something I'll watch off open. But I do like INTC. So the 5 names that I think CD and I have all agreed on are let's go here, make a little watch list. All right, so PFE, LVS, NEO, INTC, and Snap are the 5 for the smaller accounts that we kind of looked at. I talked about NEO a little bit in the last video over psych and stuff, but CD and I, we talked about this and looking at NEO's chart, the call trigger 31.35, put trigger down around that 30.5, 34.5 level, and then I just made some little price targets here based off of the 15, under 30.45. 30.3 is going to be a big level, big VPA. Then 30.10, and then under that, we got room to fall, which that's nice to see, being able to play both sides. But personally, I'm bullish on NEO right now. China's been hot. K-Web started to get a little bit of a bounce. So on the upside, at 31.35, I think we see 31.55 before a big consolidation phase to push higher, possibly 31.8, 32 area. That really sticks out to me. And then CD was all over Snap, so I'm gonna let him talk to you guys about that one more. But that's one that he's looking at a lot.
So as Bones mentioned before, if you look at the weekly on Snap, it's at a huge level here, and honestly, I'm going into this one with a bearish mindset. I know we're always ready to play both sides, but I'm definitely more intrigued by the downside on this one. Just because we haven't really been at this point since, November 2020.
Yeah, it's been a while.
So if we do break this level, we've got our call trigger set at 38.55, and then our put is around 37.5. If we break that level, the low of the day on Friday was 36.56, and underneath that, who knows where we go from there, right?
Yeah,
it could get ugly quick.
Absolutely. And looking at even the VPAs here, over that 38.55, we don't really have much until 39.6 area. It looks like is a big one on the upside, and then on the downside, there's a little bit of consolidation. SPY did bounce, so it's about 37.2 to about that 36.9 area. But underneath that, we have a long ways to fall. Gonna go flip back over to the weekly here, just try to look how far we can fall. So on the weekly, there's this VPA is massive here. Absolutely nothing really until the 29 level. So we could get a massive fall there, which looking at this chart, it's definitely pretty bearish, as CD mentioned earlier. So that's something I'm really watching here with Snap. If we don't get a bounce off that 36.5, 36.6 level, this could push into the low 30s, high 20s into the week, looking at just based off this chart. The real big bounce we want to see is probably 26 area off the weekly is the big VPA I notice. So that's something I think we can play both ways, a possible reversal, but also the downside to Snap, it's pretty big. As CD, he was all over that one. And then LVS is one that really stuck out to me. And for this really stuck out is so we gapped hard. There's news about, I believe it was something to do with sports betting, something like that. But the big thing that stuck out to me on the daily, and it's going to be the call trigger, is this 43.5 level. And the reason it's that is because it's been used multiple times as support and resistance, pretty big psych. And I'll break this down on the 15 a little bit. We talked about 43.4, which is the highs in here, but looking at the daily chart, we kind of decided the safer side of this is going to be playing that 43.5 call trigger, just because it has been a very big level on the daily chart. And then on the downside, I like 42.4, and the reason I like that is we have this double bottom here on the 15. Before it fell through pretty heavy, and then broke back up and consolidated again over right on that 42.4 level. 42.5 is going to be a big level as well, but the safer side, I'm going to play that 42.4 for the downside. And my favorite part about this is, we have hits both sides of the flow, a gap up to strong resistance. So above this resistance, if we can consolidate a little and then pop up on some good momentum, we have a good upside, but also the downside. There's a massive VPA gap all the way down to 39.3. So I like that a lot as well. Levels I'm going to watch on the downside, 41.9. And then on the upside, we're going to use this daily even to see anything. It's been a while. So let's see over that. This level here, about 44, is going to be a big level as well. But we do have those people on the flow that were hitting the 46 and 48 calls. So, they're expecting that possible push up. So I'm perfectly cool playing this either way.
Yeah, I really like this. I think this one might be my favorite, actually, in terms of big move either way. Just in such a funky spot on the chart. Like, that gap up gives us such a good opportunity to the downside, and then also we haven't been up here in a while. So either way, I think we're going to get a big move. So I think it's a good one to keep on the list for sure.
Absolutely. And, it moves pretty slow is the only thing that kind of concerns me. We haven't seen a move like this in a while. So it might take a little bit of patience, but I think it will pay either way in terms of, an up and a downside, getting hit with flow. Has some pretty decent levels, so that's what I like a lot. And then let's see, PFE is another one. CD, this one's all you. This one's all you.
All right, let's do it. Let me pull up our flow real quick, see what's getting hit. Let's see. So we closed at 54.95. I think we set our call trigger at 55.35, and then our put trigger we had 54.60. So if you go to the 15-minute, let's see here, people were hitting, in terms of calls, there's actually a lot of volume on the 60 calls, that'd be a pretty big move for PFE. It's not really a quick mover like some of these other names. And then there's extreme put volume on 53s, which is pretty reasonable in my opinion. But let's see here for levels. Upside, I've got a spot here it's pretty close, 55, 53 area. A little bit, some wicks there touching. Over that, I'm looking at 55, 75 area. And then downside, let's see here, I gotta scroll a bit. You got any downside levels right now, Ben?
Oh, Lord, let's see. Oh, so that 54.6 is a massive level. If we scroll over to the left on the 15, it's been hit multiple times, bounced, but really, 54.5, obviously a big psych level. It's also bounced a lot off this 15, so I'm going to put 59 or 54.5 for my first target. That's one that's not going to move all that fast. So it's one I'd more so just going to watch that 54.5 for buyers to step in. If buyers don't step in here, it looks like on this 15, we got downside to, oh boy, we could keep going 54.25, 54 area. The VPA is obviously not too crazy. But now that I think about it, on the daily, I believe this is a prior all-time high.
Let's see here.
Not really. It's close.
It's close, yeah.
The prior all-time high was 55.75 area, 55.7. So it is consolidating a little, but it does look like we could definitely get a big. The daily candle is actually not terrible. It's a little doji.
One thing to note, though, in my eyes, is if you go to the weekly, this is an inside bar in the weekly. So there's some consolidation going on there, and I'd expect a move. I'm more bearish, but again, be ready to play both sides.
And then the last one, INTC, I believe is the last one we need to cover.
Yeah.
So INTC, like I talked about earlier, the semiconductors were hot Friday. MU looks good. AMD looks good. NVIDIA looks good for a possible bounce back as they were getting smacked around throughout the week. But some levels here. You know, the top side trigger is one that is a little more complicated in my eyes, just because we have a bunch of wicks hitting right above levels. But I think this 5603 ultimately is a good call trigger here. And usually I use like round numbers, you know, 56.05, but there's a double top here on 5603, and our VPA, there's not much over it. So I like that level a lot. And then on the downside, let's see, this level right here, yeah. So right here we have this double bottom consolidation. It was a prior resistance level. So if we close under that 55.35 level, you know, we have some decent range. But in my opinion, the range here is more to the upside. I just think that's possibly, you know, bigger. There's a lot of consolidation in INTC. It's also a slower mover, but if those bigger chips are running, INTC is going to run with them. So that's one really I like a lot for tomorrow. In terms of levels, CD, what are we thinking here? Oh shit!
This one's a little messy.
Yeah.
On the downside, at least, there's a lot going on.
Yeah, there's a whole bunch of levels.
Let's see,
I think that 55.25 is a big one. It's kind of
25.
Yeah.
I mean, there's just so many wicks down here, honestly.
There are a bunch. I'm gonna
55.17.
I'm gonna use this hourly and see what the hell's going on here. So on the hourly, yeah, whoa, we got a bunch. 55.17, 55.18 is massive. 55.17. So the downside is definitely, you know, we had some good consolidation, but on the upside, the only level that really sticks out a lot is 56.20 to start, and then we're going to need to break that high of 56.25 over that. Let's go to the daily, see what we got, because I don't think it's tested these ranges. Oh no.
Beyond that, it's you gotta go back to July, basically.
Yeah. So over that, it looks like 56.35 area is going to be a big one. And then over that, we have some decent range up to about, oh boy, it's actually, that's not as much range as I thought.
56, what do you got, 56.53-ish? What are you looking at?
Yeah, 56. So this one's not as much, but the daily candle is absolutely beautiful. It bounced right off that VP. If I can go back. There we go. Bounced off that VPA right above a POC, pretty nice, and then continued the bullish continuation there. So if we can break out, this could be a multi-day runner, in my honest opinion about it. But it's definitely going to move off of those semiconductors, and it is a slow mover, so I don't like that as much. But the flow is nice on both sides, so I like that a lot. And it's a play, you know, you can play 1 to 2 out of the money with, I think they're about 0.5 for 1 out of the money at this point. So that's one, you know, you can get a little bit more size on, or most accounts will be able to play. Do we talk about Neo, LVS?
Yeah. I think we got all 5, right?
All right, perfect. So yeah, those 5, I'll go through the levels a little bit more again. So for Neo, call trigger, we got 31.35, put trigger 30.45. Let's see, LVS, call trigger 43.5, put trigger 42.4. See, PFE, oh, I'm clicking all over the place. PFE, we got call trigger 55.35, put trigger 54.6. One thing about PFE also is the VPA here is definitely kind of in no man's land at this point. On the upside, we have a massive VPA, about 55.6 as well, so that's something to watch, with very little VPA compared to this node above. So this could fall pretty fast if it tests that 55.35 and then bounces down as well. And then INTC, call trigger 5603, put trigger 55.35. That one we talked about, is probably going to move a little bit slower, but if the semiconductors are hot, this is one that can really shoot up through that 56 level, and it's going to take a little bit of time, but hopefully get to that 57, 56.5 level. And then Snap, definitely a massive spot as CD talked about, but the call trigger we got 38.55 and then puts under 37.5. If it can't hold that 36.5, 36.6 level, this is one that can definitely play out to the downside. I've seen this weekly chart is absolutely massive VPA, and CD was all over that one.
Yeah, this could be a banger in my eyes. So we'll see. It could be a bounce spot, but that short-term flow is looking pretty bearish as well. So
yeah, I think Snap.
Gets me a little bit excited.
Yeah, I'm thinking Snap, Neo, and LVS are the three that really stick out of this watch list. Especially Neo and LVS. LVS hasn't seen, nice little email there. LVS hasn't seen levels like this for a while. And then Neo, with China being hot, EVs are still EVs. It's got good downside. The weekly is I didn't even look at the weekly. The weekly is consolidating in a nice area.
Yeah, it's been a nice little box here.
Yeah. So
it's been holding that level. So
yeah, if it can bounce,
I think a nice push.
Yeah, I like that a lot. And then another thing on Neo that I noticed with the flow, I'll go back over to this, is looks like someone took a straddle. Get this to load real quick. It looks like someone took a straddle. Holy cow. Technical difficulties.
Not doing it for you.
Oh, here we go. All right, so these 45 calls and the 25 puts for 318, it looks like we're part of a straddle, which I don't know how to really interpret that too much in terms of a short-term play, but I do think it has up and downside. I like it on the upside. This flow is pretty bullish in terms of the 121 calls. We have 32 calls getting hit, 35 calls, 31 calls, 33, and then the 32 and 30 puts. So this could move both ways, and that's something I like a lot in all the plays, which I think all 5 of these have very good potential on both sides. All right, so that wraps up our watch list. We'll tweet it out and talk about it, a little bit more as well, but appreciate it, stopping by. And this will also be on the YouTube in case, couldn't make it, stuff like that.
Perfect. So I appreciate you having me on here, Benz.
Oh, of course. And
much appreciated, man.
If you guys, I know a big thing is, a lot of people are just focused on the bigger account and these options trades, but CD has put in the time, for smaller accounts. That's something that I obviously strive to do as well, but give CD a follow. All of his watch lists so far have been tailored to the smaller accounts with plays that, almost anyone can play. Even if you're a bigger account and want to get more comfortable with size, that's something that CD, his watch list, has really, really helped as well. All right, I ended that motherfucker.